Record.
Hi guys, and welcome back to the MudHouse podcast. I'm Cole Carter, and I'm here with Ian and Al as always. You want to introduce yourselves again, guys?
Hi.
How's everyone doing today? Pleasure to be back on here, not gonna lie.
It's always a good time back on here.
And we're one podcast in and already added a new member to the crew behind the camera. We got Trey Nolte over there.
Yeah,
Trey.
And we're still with Chaz, Crispy, and McGuire as always. So is there anything you guys want to start off talking about?
You know, I feel like one thing that the viewers have really want us to hear, because they know we're in college, is the best and worst days of college. Cole, what do you think? Like, do you have a best day or worst day? Let me hear it.
I would say my best day of college so far is that probably have to be homecoming last semester.
Okay.
So I just drank heavy all day, and honestly, just spending the whole day teetering from blackout drunk to sober is the only way to spend a college day here. So that would have to be my best day. What about you, Ian?
So, my best day, by far, is my good pal here, Al, when he lost his virginity. So, I've known him for a little while now, and we would always just trash on him for doing nothing. He couldn't talk to a girl. He couldn't even look at them in the eyes. And then, lo and behold, one night, I get a call at like 1 a.m. Yo, dude, I did it. What'd you do? I'm tired. I lost my virginity. After that, I don't remember the rest. It was a good time.
It was that was a fun time. With the boys afterwards. But my best day of college was probably like, oh man, that's a tough one because the frat life is an amazing life. I'd probably have to say whenever I sound like stupid, but last year we had a few days, like 2 days in a row, where they canceled classes, and I just remember feeling like, dude, you're having all the fun at being in college, but you don't have to go to class. That's just amazing to me. But it's kind of boring, but maybe that the best day is yet to come, you know?
That's one way to look at it.
What about the worst day?
I don't know if I have a worst day. I think every semester I have a worst week when I have to take 5 tests in a week. So
yeah.
Finals week is just overall always the worst day. But maybe, in particular, me and Trey lived together last semester. And at 1 a.m. before we had an 8 a.m. final for Calc 1, our fire alarm decided it was time to go off.
I lived in your building last year, and I remember that. I was late to my psych final the next day because of that.
Dude, a fire alarm went off, and Trey looked at me, and he's like, hey, are you going outside? I was like, if this place burns down tonight, that's better than not sleeping before a calc final. I will happily burn in my sleep before I go outside at 1 a.m. when I have to get up at
Did
8.
you stay in your room?
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude. Okay, so my perspective of that day, I remember I had a psych final at 8 a.m. and we went to, it was actually 3 a.m. that thing went off. And they didn't let it, so what happens every time in a dorm is that when the fire alarm goes off, when it goes technically on, it doesn't go off until it either goes off right away or they have trouble fixing it. And so that time they had trouble fixing it, and they didn't let us back in for another 45 minutes. And it was in May, but it was still cold because it was 2 in the morning. I think it was 3 or 4 in the morning, and I woke up and I was late to my psych final the next day. That was terrible.
Oh yeah, I knew they didn't let you guys back in because I had enough time to fall back asleep, be dreaming, and then wake up when I heard Trey walk back in the door 45 minutes later.
How about you, Ian? You got a worse day?
Honestly, I can't really think of one worst day I had. I mean, I've had bad days, obviously. We all do, but nothing that really comes with a good story. It's a lame answer, but there's really nothing I can go off with that.
I got a good one, and I know before in our meeting before this, I said I was gonna say one story. I'm actually gonna say another. We had a very big weekend, as we all know what that weekend is that happens in the springtime, and we were all having quote unquote a good time, and I was having a really, really good time, and I started to, say some stupid things and do some stupid things. And this girl that I thought she was into me, but she really wasn't into me, she came by, and she would come around because, not because she wanted to go, but it was you're going to be there? Okay, I'll go. So I got a little bit of impression, maybe she's into me. So, like I said, we're having a good time, and I was having maybe a little better time than her. And I realized that she wasn't talking to me, and we're sitting on this little ledge, right? And for some reason, man, I start bawling my eyes out. I'm crying. I literally like can't stop crying. I'm sitting like, I don't know why I'm crying, man. Like, it's just so terrible. So then a girl that I know who she's just a friend, she goes, well, I was like, can you take me home? She goes, yeah, we're gonna get you home. Meanwhile, the girl is from me to Ian away. I'm sitting there like, oh my god, this is terrible. So she takes me home. I get off the little ledge. What happens? I trip and fall on a stump in the mud, dude. I'm covered in mud. And I have tears all over me. And this girl's... I had no idea what was going through her head. But, like, all she sees is a guy talking to her, bawling his eyes out, then falls in the mud. And I think that was pretty embarrassing. I'm not going to lie.
So, essentially, you were a sloppy white girl.
You see, I was going to say, I remember that day. And I remember this so clearly. I saw you crying. And I was going to talk to you, but then I got really hungry. And Taco Bell was about 2 houses down. So I went and got Taco Bell. So... sorry for that, but...
You could have been there for me, man.
And you're not sorry.
You're not sorry. Taco Bell probably slapped.
But they had nacho fries, so...
Exactly. You can't...
But you know what I did, though? Big Al makes big moves. And I saw her a couple weeks later. I dabbed her up, said what's up, like nothing ever happened.
That's the best way to do it.
Yeah, man. But, like, it was pretty terrible because I still get... that was over a year ago, and I still get reminded of it to this day. Be like, oh, yeah, we met that time at that event. Remember when you cried? I'm like, yeah, I remember that. But yeah, that's probably the worst day. But it was also kind of the best day in the same sense, though. You know, like...
makes for a good story.
It makes for a good story.
What are the first 3 things you would buy with Bezo cash?
Ooh. What do you think, Cole?
What do you think?
Jeff Bezos, man, that's a lot of money.
That is a ton of money. So what am I doing if I have Bezos money? I mean, honestly, the first thing I'm getting is probably a PJ because I just want to go wherever, whenever. So I'm trying to get a private jet and just fly around the world.
Definitely.
For me, without a doubt, a yacht. And I mean like a mega yacht.
You can
like a
always
Mr.
throw
Beast kind of
parties on
yacht.
it. Yeah.
What are you going to do on that yacht?
Just hang out with friends.
Charity.
Just live
Charity.
life.
A whole lot of charity.
A whole lot of charity. For me, I was thinking the same thing, like a private jet or like unlimited access to like what Mark Cuban did. How he said he just got, it was like with American Airlines, he was able to fly wherever he wanted for free. That way, like, you can always go somewhere. But I'm leaning more towards a private jet because you don't have to, like, go to the airport. Like, you make enough money, you know what I'd do? I'd buy a house and get a runway and just have it like John Travolta. Yeah. Okay, Cole, what's the second thing you would buy?
I don't know, the second thing I would buy... Ian's got me craving Taco Bell because of your story. Dude, I might just get, like, a lifetime supply of something. Just any, I don't know what my favorite food would be. I might get, like, a lifetime supply, like... My hometown has this little place
What's so funny, guys?
Ian is what's so funny. I probably buy a lifetime supply. My hometown has this little place called DH Subs. And I just get myself a lifetime of DH subs.
I'm leaning more towards like, I wouldn't get like a lifetime supply, but if I were to get a lifetime supply of something, it would probably be, is it Wendy's or Burger King does those spicy nuggets occasionally?
Wendy's.
I would get unlimited
the
that.
best spicy nuggets.
But they don't always have them out, right?
No, they're back and I think they're good.
They're here to stay.
They're here to stay.
I remember when they were limited. I was like, I gotta give me some of them spicy nuggets. I'd get spicy nuggets.
I was like in kindergarten, bro. Spicy nuggets.
They hit different.
Like, that's serious.
You can thank Chance the Rapper for that one. He said, I want Wendy's spicy nuggets back, so they just did it.
Dude, you see they had like 500 million retweets and it like, and Wendy's was like 1 million retweets and we'll bring spicy nuggets back, and within the hour they were at like 52 million.
Speaking of Twitter, there was this little off topic, but there was this guy a couple years ago. He's a Devils fan, and he added the Devils. He was like at Devils, like how many retweets for season tickets for life. Free season tickets for life. Or maybe it was just the season. And they said, like, a crazy amount of number, and he got it. It went viral, and he ended up getting the free season tickets. It was pretty cool. Sometimes I think about, like, hitting up, like, someone famous, like J-Lo. Like, hey, J-Lo, like, will you go to prom with me, please? Like, how many retweets? Like, something like that. You know what I mean? Like, you're never going to get it if you don't ask, you know?
I don't think that's gonna happen.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have the physique of A-Rod to pull someone like J-Lo.
You have the physique more of like Big Pop.
More roids and more baseball, and I think I can pull anyone I want.
More roids. You just gotta start hitting home runs. That's all you do.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, like Ian said last episode, that's what pulls in the shit.
Yeah, baseball.
100%.
Baseball.
Dude, no, soccer. We don't need to bring that argument.
Yeah, I mean, you made a fair argument though. It's true. Like soccer players with their own cologne and shit. Like that's where it's at.
Al made me change my answer because he gave that story about the retweets. I would buy lifetime like courtside Lakers tickets if I had Bezos cash. I'd want to sit courtside at every home Lakers game for the rest of my life.
How about you, Ian?
So another thing would be buying a resort in Hawaii. And not just staying there for a week or something. I want the entire resort all to myself. Because, first of all, I've never been to Hawaii, and I really want to. Plus, resorts are always really fun and nice. And I have my own little private people working at the bar. Get me drinks whenever I want. I still have room service coming to me whenever I want. It'd just be a good time.
For the second one, for me, like, you had me on the mind of, like, tickets. I would probably do something more like a penthouse in New York City. Or, like, you know how, like, Steve will do it in FaZe, they have the Clout House? I would want to, like, own one of those. But, like, it's just me that lives there. I think that'd be cool. Especially, like, on the skyline of New York City. That'd be dope.
Kind of lame.
I feel like my last thing I'd have to buy, I'd want, like, just a sports team with just the worst
100%,
reputation.
100%.
The worst reputation in their respective league. Like, give me the Cavs and let me fix the Cavs. That would be, like, what I wanted to do if I could buy whatever I want.
Okay, but what if you don't fix the Cavs and they just keep being shitty?
I mean, Cleveland is a factory of sadness, so more than likely I'm not going to fix the Cavs, but I can do a better job than Dan Gilbert. I could have probably kept LeBron around the first time, because I'm not going to write, like, a strongly worded letter that he was the worst thing to happen to this city since he left me, and disrespect the only good thing to come out of Cleveland in years. So, I mean, it can't be that much harder. Also, you don't, like, you pay for better players. Dan Gilbert let LeBron boss him around a little bit. Dan Gilbert paid Tristan Thompson way too much money because LeBron wanted Dan Gilbert to pay Tristan Thompson.
Can I ask a question about this real quick? So I just want to make sure we're all clear. How did I believe I know the answer, but maybe for the viewers, how did LeBron go about leaving Cleveland the first time? Didn't he just, like, leave a voicemail and, like, flew to Miami? How did that go down?
You don't remember the decision?
I don't. I'm not going to lie.
The decision is one of the biggest moments of, like, sports in the last 20 years.
Thanks for making me feel bad, but go ahead.
LeBron hosted a charity event where, like, all the views on this charity stream that he was doing went, I think it was St. Jude maybe, and it was a Boys and Girls Club in Cleveland. Is
Okay.
What it was. So all of these views are going to this, and there he sat with just one reporter in front of him and said, "I'm going to take my talents to South Beach and join Bosch and Wade in South Beach." And then they had the not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4. They said they were going to win 7 championships. Clearly didn't happen, but still, you don't let the best player to ever, like the best player in probably any sport to ever be from Cleveland, leave that Cleveland sports team.
So you would say it's the ownership that made him go?
Oh, absolutely, because they didn't want to get LeBron help. They didn't want to pay players that would actually come and, like, be good role players or a second superstar. And then, you can see how terribly run the organization is. Kyrie wanted out, went to Boston, but Kyrie also didn't do much in Boston. So
there's a stigma around Cleveland. Like, the Indians, okay, I know they made it to World Series a couple years ago, but, like, overall, the organization is dog shit. And also, like, Cleveland, why can't the Cleveland Browns win? They haven't won since old Cleveland Browns whenever Art just took them to Baltimore. So I don't know what it is, but maybe, like, with that money, you can change the game, man. Bring a win to Cleveland.
With the Bezos money, bring the Cleveland Cavaliers, their second championship in the last. So just make the city of Cleveland happy for a day.
Yeah.
Is really what I'd be trying to do with Bezos cash. Is just make Cleveland happy one more time at least.
I mean, they deserve it. They've been patient enough.
How about you, Ian?
Who would you buy? Like, if you're buying a shitty sports team, who are you taking?
Now, I know they aren't shitty, but I have to go with the Steelers. Because, I mean, I have my own personal opinions. I like Big Ben. He's done a lot with the team, but I might be speaking a little too soon, but I think this year he's going to be terrible. I mean, he's coming off of a huge injury, a whole year not playing. He hasn't been great, the past couple years. And he also doesn't really have any weapons. I think we need someone new. If I'm the Steelers, if I was in charge of that, I'd be going for Jalen Hurts in the draft.
Do you think he's going to retire soon?
Big Ben? He wants to play out the rest of his contract, which I think has 2 years left in it. And that's a little too long for us.
I feel like, especially with the Steelers, like, Big Ben, like, to help the franchise, if you ask me, there needs to be a time where he says, I'm done. Because he's done it like 2 times in the past 5 years. He goes, I don't know, man, I'm thinking about retiring. Me and my dad have this conversation all the time. When you say you're done, you're already there. So you're Big Ben, you're sitting there, in the offseason, you're like, dude, I don't want to fucking play anymore. Like, I don't want to go to camp. Maybe I'm thinking about retiring. In his own mind, he's done. I feel like he doesn't want to be there anymore. And the longer he stays is the worse. Okay, so think about this. Like, the quarterbacks coming to the draft. You got, like, Joe Burrow, Tua, right? Jalen Hurts. Yeah. And I know we don't have a first-round pick, but just think about this in general. The longer he stands out, the longer we pass on a Jalen Hurts, a Joe Burrow, anyone. And then we're stuck with Delvin Hodges. Like, okay, say what you want, Duck fans, but that guy's not good. He can't throw the ball. And honestly, the Steelers this season, if you ask me, were a boring team to watch. How many times with Delvin did we put up more than 25, 30 points?
Well, the defense was phenomenal this year.
If
we had a quarterback, we would be insane.
The fact that we started off the season 0-3, and I think we bounced back to like 5-5 at one point, or was something like that.
Yeah.
So I feel like with losing my train of thought here. So the defense really stuck out, and that helped us a lot.
Yeah, Minka Fitzpatrick.
Offense, so the last, dude, don't even get me started, man. I'm on the Fitzpatrick train all the way. So the quarterback situation. So do you guys remember the last game of the season against Baltimore? We had to win, and if we lost, we had the Titans to lose. That game wasn't even entertaining. We scored 10 points in a make it or break it game. It's just boring to watch.
Steelers, they choked 3 games in a row.
It's crazy. We shouldn't have lost to Arizona. I mean, RG3. Okay, like I know we talked about RG3.
They beat Arizona.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. That's right. We lost to the Jets. I apologize.
It was the Bills, then the Jets, then the Ravens, back to back to close out the season 0-3 in their last 3 games, and just completely ruin everyone's hopes and dreams for another year of Steelers. What 8-8 was it? 8-8 or 7-9?
They were 8-8.
8-8 Steelers football.
I'll tell you something about the Steelers organization in Pittsburgh. Okay, Pittsburgh's a big market for football. So like for the LA Chargers, when they suck, you have the Lakers, the Clippers, and the Rams now. You have Pittsburgh fans. There's some people that eat, breathe, and sleep the Pittsburgh Steelers. So when they go 8-8, the city of Pittsburgh's pissed off. You guys know in high school, like on a Monday morning, if the Steelers lost, dude, it was not a good day to be around, man. Like,
especially
that's the problem with the Pittsburgh organization when we have a bad season. It just ruins it because we love it, What were you saying?
I was gonna say, especially because when I went to high school, I was more from the Eastern PA side. Everyone's Eagles fans. No hate to them, but we all know Eagles fans can get. Yeah. So I would not hear the end of it.
What do you think about the head coach?
Mike Tomlin. I think he's too conservative and too scared to actually go out there. We never do anything in free agency. And, I mean, the whole Minka thing, which was amazing, and I'm happy that happened, but that's the only thing that he's really done to help out. I mean, I don't believe this completely, but a lot of people say he was handed an amazing team and then just kind of not broke it down, but he didn't do enough, which is why our team's very old. And we're just kind of left in a really bad spot where the next couple of seasons we could be in losing seasons, which we probably will be if something drastic doesn't happen.
I think with Tomlin, what I don't like about Mike Tomlin is that he lets his players push him around too much. I mean, compare him to Bill Belichick. If someone's doing stupid, someone's being stupid, he's like, get out, or like, fix your shit. I mean, we had the whole Le'Veon Bell situation, Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown wants to put on Twitter, oh, I'm really upset that Big Ben didn't throw to me on 3rd and 40, even though I was wide open. And he wants to bitch and throw his helmet and throw Gatorade and stuff like that. Tomlin just like, well, you're AB, so I'm going to let you do that. Belichick and a bunch of other coaches in the NFL, like, we're not going to handle that. We're not going to deal with that in this city. And Tomlin just lets his players do that.
It took him 8 weeks to get rid of Antonio Brown.
It's crazy.
It's a little bit too long.
Yeah.
And Ian, your whole point was that we need to move on from Ben. Yes, we will move on from Ben, but this isn't the draft to do it because unless they're going to trade something to the Bengals to get the number 1 pick, it's Joe Burrow and then every other quarterback. and Jalen Hurts is not going to be an answer. He put up godly numbers this season in the Pac-12 or in the Big 12. The Big 12 is the worst defensive conference in college football.
Yeah.
And we could put most decent college quarterbacks there, and they would become Heisman candidates because you're throwing against corners that will never even sniff a CFL roster.
Imagine Nate Peterman playing for Oklahoma.
But if you wait one more year, play this season with Ben, next season you have Trevor Lawrence in the draft, work towards that in the draft. You have Justin Fields that you can wait for. There's other really good quarterbacks that are going to come out of the draft next season, and this season just play Ben one more year and see if he's still got it. Because if he does, great, Big Ben might have 2 more years under his belt, and you can go and draft another weapon for Ben. But you can't do that. Jalen Hurts is going to be a turnover machine in the NFL.
That's not completely true yet, though.
It's not completely true, but Jalen Hurts has showed that in big situations, he's not the player that everyone thinks he is. When he has to play a tough defense, he against what I think they lost to Kansas State this year, and that game, Jalen, it was stupid numbers that he just he just would turn over the ball on the others in opponent territory. He turns over the ball. He makes the big mistake game in and game out. And then you saw what happened when he had to play a good defense in LSU. He's not actually that good of a quarterback. He just played in the worst conference in college football.
I mean, I also like my mobile quarterbacks.
I like a mobile quarterback, and what they're doing with Lamar is great, but, I mean, Justin Fields is a mobile quarterback. Trevor Lawrence showed during the Ohio State game that he also can be a mobile quarterback.
I wouldn't go that far with Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence had more rushing yards than ETN that game.
He's also playing for, on paper, the best team in college football, in the past couple years in a long time. You got to understand that, too.
I understand Trevor Lawrence, but Justin Fields wasn't it was either 40, I think it was 40-1 this year. 40 touchdowns, 1 interception. That dude doesn't make the big mistake Jalen does. So if you even medium suck, Justin Fields isn't gonna be the number 1 pick like Trevor Lawrence is. Trevor Lawrence is gonna be the number 1 pick in the draft. 100%. And the Steelers don't want to suck to the point where they're picking number 1, and you also don't want to give up your future to get the number 1 pick. But you do want to if they're just mediocre again, Justin Fields isn't gonna be the number 1 pick in the draft. He's probably not gonna be. I mean, he might be in the top 5. But trading to a top 5 pick's a lot easier than getting that number 1 pick that everyone wants.
One thing that you were talking about with Jalen Hurts. So I like Jalen Hurts at Alabama. He got hurt, and then he went to Oklahoma. Right? And then Tua took over. He threw that, the game-winning pass. But Jalen, I liked him in Alabama, but I don't know if you guys know this. When he went to Oklahoma, he became an asshole. I believe he was a locker room problem. So they talked to him right before Oklahoma State. They call it Bedlam or Mayhem. You know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that big Oklahoma State game. So they interviewed him and they said, "Hey man, this is a huge game, everyone in the country loves to watch this game. How do you feel, man? Are you nervous?" And Jalen Hurts, you can look it up, said, this is nothing to me. I played in the Iron Bowl. That I do not care. He's just becomes. I think Jalen Hurts, if he goes to the NFL, he's gonna be a locker room issue, and I can see him being the next Johnny Manziel. Do you remember draft night of Johnny Manziel? He was so, after the 6th pick, he was standing up after each pick "What the hell? You didn't draft me?" Jalen Hurts is going to be that guy. He's going to go to the NFL, and then next thing you know, he's going to be playing for Saskatchewan in some random, in the CFL, playing with blunder-fed Wes Welker.
I think that the Steelers need to take a good wide receiver this draft. I think
you guys see CeeDee Lamb in the combine.
Yeah, exactly. There are some very good wide receivers coming this draft class. It's all over the combine and everything else. The guy from LSU.
Does LSU? I don't think LSU has a graduating receiver, do they?
No, not LSU. What's his name? The guy from Alabama.
Henry Ruggs.
Henry Ruggs.
And Jerry Judy's coming out this class
Moss
too.
not going to the NFL this year?
Moss, the guy from Alabama.
Oh, Thad Moss is a tight end.
Yeah.
But take a wide receiver to partner with Juju, because Juju thrived when he got to run number 2 receiver routes and not get double teamed on every route, which this season Juju didn't have the stats he had for the first 2 years. Or first year, was he a rookie last year?
No, I think that was his second year.
Yeah, so
last year.
His first 2 years, he looked so much better on paper than he looked this year, because no one's double teaming Antonio Brown. And Juju also isn't the route runner that Antonio is. He can go up and get a ball a lot easier than Antonio can, but he can't
Can't get open like Antonio.
Can't get open the way Antonio can. Deontay Johnson has the best route running on the Steelers, and probably should be running the number 1 routes just to get open and have Juju take on the number 2 routes where he's just streaking downfield. Like Juju, you want to throw the ball up and have him go get it, and Antonio Brown, you could throw. You don't even have to you just throw the ball. Because he's standing wide open 20 yards downfield because he just destroyed a corner. And that's what they need. They need, they don't need someone else that's going to go up and get it. You don't need a... Jerry Judy's quick, but Henry Ruggs quick, decent route running. Henry Ruggs would be a great pick. He'll probably fall to the 2nd round, and the Steelers have a pick in the 2nd round. So get a wide receiver like Ruggs, even Judy. CeeDee Lamb is also an incredible route runner. Get someone like them in the 2nd round. And then next year get... Not Trevor Lawrence probably, but a Justin Fields, and there's other really good quarterbacks in that class. My head's blanking right now.
I think also a lot of people give a bad stigma after the 1st round. 2nd round talent, that's good talent. This isn't Madden.
Le'Veon Bell was 2nd round.
2nd round, Le'Veon Bell, Juju Smith-Schuster.
Yeah, Tom Brady went 199th overall. There's always talent. You got to realize think about how many people are in the NFL right now. And how many people wanted to play in the XFL because there's not enough. There's so much good talent, outstanding athletes that can't go to the NFL because there's just not enough spots, and the talent is so crazy.
There's always hidden talent. I mean, Tom Brady was 6th round pick. Antonio Brown also a 6th round pick.
And also it's not always the big name schools that bring people out. Was Antonio Brown Western Michigan or Eastern Michigan?
I couldn't tell you.
I forget what it was. It's
one of he was Eastern Michigan. I'm
Eastern
sure.
Michigan. A lot of these guys, was it Brandy Moss that? Randy
Moss.
Randy Moss came out of Marshall, wasn't it? Or no, that was Randy Moss came out of Marshall, I believe, right?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
I mean, that's just what are they now? What conference are they even playing?
They're in the MAC.
It's something like dog shit. They're playing FIU and teams like that. It's not always bad to have we can get solid guys for next season in this draft. Steeler fans, don't worry that you don't have a 1st round pick. I mean, yeah, you're not going to get one of the top 30 guys coming out of college right now, but you're going to get talent. It's a draft.
What I'm looking at right now, it says the Steelers' projected pick is Hunter Bryant, tight end from Washington. The Steelers don't need to keep going back to a tight end.
No.
They have Annette and they have Vance McDonald. They don't need to get another tight end. That's like drafting another linebacker. They keep doing the same thing over and over again. And just
Man, I'm a Dolphins fan. Yeah, I know how it feels to just keep drafting linemen and doing absolutely
Well, we got to keep getting linebackers because ours get paralyzed and we have to get a new one like Shazier.
I mean, I feel good with Devin Bush though. The beginning of the season, kind of rough, not great at all. He missed a lot of reads, didn't always even play his coverage properly. But throughout the season, he really grew. He got a lot better. So, I mean, from the linebackers, corners, we always use corners, but I mean, so our defense did pretty good. I think it's the offense that they mainly have to worry about.
Yeah.
And that's the thing where, Deontay Johnson and Juju, both good. Yes, we do need more weapons, but if we have the weapons, we need a quarterback to throw to them. Because, I mean, Ben, obviously, he could be good, but after being that old and not doing great in the past few seasons, and going from a whole year of not even throwing the ball, that's why I think they need to go for a quarterback.
Also, I think of it, he's the age of Tom Brady, or close to that, and he's also
younger than Tom.
He's he's younger than Tom Brady, but I also think Peyton Manning was around he's getting into the Peyton Manning age of where he retired, and Peyton Manning, I mean his last game was a Super Bowl victory. Tom Brady, how many Super Bowls did he win? But if you notice now, I noticed at the end of Peyton Manning's career and now at Tom Brady's career, he just doesn't have the zip on the ball. He's not they're not gunslingers like they used to be. So Ben can come back. He's a good quarterback, but it's different, especially after you said not throwing a football for a year. That takes a toll,
Especially when you're that old.
Yeah. So I just have a feeling he's going to come back. He hasn't thrown a football, and he's not going to have the zip on the ball. He gets slower and slower every year. If you look at old playoff games of the Steelers, man, 3rd and 6, he wasn't there, man. He dodged through the line and dive for a first. He can't move now, man. And now when he moves, he breaks his thumb and can't play all season.
Yeah.
Steelers.
here's the real thing, though. We're talking about the Steelers like we want to take over the Steelers. We have a worse franchise in the city across the river.
Yes. I want to get into this. So, the sports team I would buy is the Pittsburgh Pirates. So, let me give you a spiel about the Pirates from my perspective and why I want them and how I change them. So, the Pirates, the Nuttings, are terrible. It's the family owners of the Pirates, okay?
One of the Nutting sons went to my school, and all they do is put their money into the newspapers that they own around
Yeah,
the
you were telling me
country.
about that, yeah.
That's all they care about, man.
So, the Nuttings, what they do is they get talent. They wait for that talent to get older. So then they have to pay them big money, and they get rid of them for younger talent. So let me give you a little example. So Andrew McCutchen, he was the face of our franchise. Literally, people only went to Pirate games to see Andrew McCutchen play. Who do you want to watch? Adam LaRoche? No, I don't think so. Well, he played first base for like a couple years. Like Rod Barajas, old catcher. No one wants to see these guys play baseball. They came for Andrew McCutchen.
Like how many people showed up to Pirates games wearing a McCutchen?
It's crazy. It's crazy. And, if you watch old Pirate games, you'll see there's 10 people in the crowd. They don't cheer. But now batting, Andrew McCutchen. What the fuck? Catch, bro. So, for some reason, we felt the need to not get him. We didn't want to keep him. Andrew McCutchen was a superstar, and he wanted a little bit more money for playing 162 games a season and putting out the stats he did. The Nutting said, well, I'm sorry, Mr. McCutchen. We don't want to pay you that money. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to send you to San Francisco. And they're going to give us a couple prospects. With those prospects, you got Austin Meadows and that pitcher Glasnow, I think it was. I'm sorry if I'm wrong. So what we did, they came in there, and they're playing pretty good. They played for us for a season or two, and now these guys are like, well, I'm playing a lot of baseball games, and I want to make some money. And the Huntings go, oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mr. Meadows. We cannot pay you that money. So they get rid of them. They trade them off to get more prospects. So going back to Kutch. So what happened? Kutch was probably making, I don't have the stat in front of me, but it's probably like at least $7 million a year. You got rid of him, and you took on two prospects that you're paying no more than $40K a year. You know what they did with that extra $6 million? They put it in their pockets. The ownership is just disgusting. Another prime example, Mark Melancon. I hate him. I can't stand him. He's terrible now. But his last season with the Pirates, he was the best closer in all of baseball. He had over 50 saves. He was amazing. The Pirates said, oh, he's really good. And now Melancon's like, Melancon wasn't asking for like hundreds of millions of dollars. He's like, I need a little bit more money if you're going to put me in more than 60 times a season for a closer too. So they go, what's that? Okay. So what they did is they got rid of Melancon and they got Felipe Rivera. They're paying Melancon probably $5 or $6 million a year. They get Rivera, they give them a sack of potatoes, and they take all that money, they put it right in their pocket. So what I would do, man, is I would just spend the money they have. People get mad about the cap in baseball. Well, if you got the money, spend it. And the Pirates got the money, man. Like, it disgusts me with the ownership. And basically, I would buy the Pirates and just actually give a shit and try to, like, win some games. Because the Pirates, when they make the playoffs, man, everyone loves it. For some reason, when the Pirates are good, the city of Pittsburgh loves baseball. It's crazy. Thoughts? Sorry about the tangent.
I think that you guys picked I think you guys are pussies because not only do I have to compete against every other team in the NBA, I have to compete against the fact that I'm pretty sure the NBA is rigged. That's one all-time conspiracies that I like to believe. The NBA 100% rigs its games. And if you don't think that, then I can't think of the ref's name right now.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
But he said, that's going to irritate me. I'm going to look it up.
Well, I was thinking that. Let's get some wise words from our pal Ian.
Wise words? Well, I don't know.
You have a Juju shirt on. Is he your favorite player?
No. My favorite player is James Conner because, well, he's also, he went to Pittsburgh. Plus, he's a strong dude going off of cancer. You know, combated that. Did you get your thing?
Yeah. So now we know that you like James Conner. So if you don't think the NBA is rigged, then you can listen to countless people interview Tim Donaghy. Tim Donaghy told people that there was like an NBA referee committee that the NBA would send them tapes and say, look, for this next playoff game, this is Game 6. Let's say the Cavs are... let's say Game 6 Cavs-Warriors, when the Cavs won the title Game 7. They say, look, on this, LeBron's getting extra contact every time he's going to the rim, and you guys aren't calling it. Start calling it more when LeBron gets to the rim. And they say that for every single game but they won't tell you to make adjustments for like the Warriors because they want that to go to Game 7 because they make millions and millions of dollars for every playoff game that they get to air in the TV deal. And if you air Game 7, it's even more money. So they will rig series to go to longer games. Like, if you go back and watch the tapes of I think it was the Kings-Lakers series, 2001 maybe, the Kings got absolutely screwed over and over again because they didn't want the Kings to go to the finals over Kobe and Shaq. Because that's not good for the league if the Sacramento Kings with Mike Bibby are the biggest name in the NBA Finals that year. So, like, that's why I 100% believe the conspiracy that the NBA is rigged because, like, look at it. They do it every year to get their most marketable players in their most marketable cities to the finals every year.
I think a lot of sports are rigged, honestly. Like, the past couple of years, with the exception of this past Super Bowl, it's like the over-under hits every single time for the Super Bowl. Stuff like that.
That's what I was going to say. Specifically, I think it was Super Bowl... which one was it? It was 49ers, and the blackout one.
Oh,
49ers and Ravens.
Like 46 or 7, I think that was.
Yeah, so...
Maybe, 46.
Pretty much, my thing is, I'm not going to make it hidden. I don't like Roger Goodell. And... I mean, multiple people believe that he is the one that caused the blackout because 49ers were winning, and it wasn't really that close. It ended up being they were losing viewership, and it was pretty obvious. Then, out of nowhere, the blackout happened. Everyone started to come back and watch it. Then, after they got the lights back on, I forget who was the kick returner for the Ravens. He got a 109-yard kick return.
Jacoby Jones.
Yeah, Jacoby, which is the longest Super Bowl history, which... I mean, maybe it could have happened, but to me it seems a little suspicious. I'm not going to say it's completely rigged, but that's my main thoughts on it. And then once I got the viewership back, then the Ravens made the comeback and ended up winning. So that's my main thing. That's my main take about that.
Yeah, and it's also stuff like with the. I also feel like when I'm watching an NFL game, isn't it crazy? Like, okay. The Patriots, I'm not even going to say the Patriots because I know everyone thinks they cheat. Okay, let's just say you're watching the Titans and the Bucks playing a game. It always just feels like, someone scores with like a minute and 10 left. You know damn well they're going to drive it down the field. When it's if it's 4th and 6 at their own like 15 at the beginning of the drive, you know they're going to get it. How often do you see an NFL game where a team scores late, they get the ball back, and they go 3 and out and punt? I just feel like you never see that. Every time, I just always feel like it's more for the entertainment.
Unless you're watching the Steelers.
Or the Browns.
Or the Bengals.
No, not our beloved Bengals. The Bengals are the greatest.
Who day, baby? Who day? Joe Burrow's going to take us to the fucking Super Bowl.
I'll see about that one. We'll see what Roger Goodell has to say about that, actually.
Go check the Instagram and you can hear my thoughts on the Cincinnati Bengals. 7 rings, 6 years, Joe Burrow, greatest quarterback.
7 rings in 6 years. Nice.
Yeah, they're going to give him a second ring when he beats the Cowboys 72-0 in the Super Bowl 5 years from now. They're giving him 2 rings.
Speaking of like conspiracy theories kind of like coming true, what do you guys think about the whole thing going on with the Astros and the World Series?
Oh, okay. That's not a conspiracy. That's proven fact.
Now that's proven
it's
fact.
Proven fact.
I mean, it started as a conspiracy. All of a sudden, it blows up.
I want to give my thoughts
Did you see the
on
thing
that.
on Kershaw? It was crazy. They said that the Astros didn't swing and miss at a single breaking ball that Kershaw threw the entire game 5.
That guy's 12-6 curveball is outstanding.
Isn't that insane?
No one touches that. Okay, my thoughts on it real quick. They were proven that they were guilty. You can look up all the videos on what they did. But here's the thing. In 1919, the Chicago White Sox threw a World Series. They lost on purpose. You can look up Black Sox scandal.
I've seen it.
8 of the men were accused and found guilty. So you played 9 on the field, and back then it wasn't how baseball was. They were 40-man rosters, like 12 guys on a team max. 8 of the players were found guilty of throwing that World Series, and the Cincinnati Reds won. Those guys were banned from baseball for life. They couldn't play professionally. They weren't welcome in stadiums. The only thing they could do is play wiffle ball outside with their kids. Now, so they lost on purpose. They're banned for life. The Houston Astros cheated. They were found guilty. They go, "Yep, we did it." Other players that have left the team, they're like, "Yeah, I saw them doing it," and I was like, "Why are they still in the league?" And then the commissioner goes, "Oh, if you guys throw at the Houston Astros, you're gonna get suspended." Jose Altuve especially, and all the guys that were found guilty deserve to be kicked out of baseball for life. Baseball, I love baseball. That just disgusts me.
This is the worst part. It's not even that they didn't get kicked out for life. They didn't get punished.
Nothing.
They're not suspended.
Nothing at all.
They're not suspended to start next
Yeah,
season.
like-
You expect Kershaw, who they literally probably cheated out of a chance of being a World Series champion right now that year. You expect Kershaw not to want to hit Jose Altuve with the ball?
They stole the World Series from, a lot of people say the Yankees. They stole from the World Series. They stole an MVP from Judge. That season, and Giancarlo Stanton came out and said, another thing what's weird is, like, these players aren't ignoring it. They're like, Big Papi said, I think it was Mike Fires that came out, like, when they cheated. He goes, "Mike Fires, man, I beat the shit out of him." Like, he said something like that. Like, not verbatim. Big Papi's a good guy and all. But Giancarlo Stanton goes, "If it wasn't for the damn Astros, bro, I would have hit 80 home runs that year." They ruined a whole season. Take their rings back and take them to the fucking curb. Because I don't want to see them playing. I hate Jose Altuve. I can't stand Jose Altuve.
It's okay.
It's okay.
I saw a video.
Let it out.
I saw a video.
Let it out.
By the way, like, spring training, each team right now has like 10 games, and the Astros have been hit the most.
You want to hear something crazy too? The Pirates have yet to win a game.
Yeah, I think they did lose against Baltimore today.
They lost 11-4 to Baltimore.
And now they're 0-9 in the freaking spring training.
The best part about spring training is it's not like Jose Altuve's out there playing hard spring training games.
They're beaming it.
They're beaming. Not even Altuve. They're just beaming these dudes that are just trying out for the team.
These dudes are playing in Toledo, and like, you don't want to make them be they're getting pegged. I saw a video. Altuve used to be loved. They're like, "Look at this short guy, man. He plays second base or I forget, shortstop or second base." And they're like, "Oh man, I love this guy." He struck out in a spring training game, and that crowd was just like, "You suck. Get out of here, Altuve. No one likes you, dude." He's gonna be the next Ryan Braun. Everyone. When Ryan Braun got found. He did steroids in like 2010. If you go to a Pirates Brewers game, I think he's still with the Brewers, and he's up to bat, he'll get booed for life, and that's what's gonna happen to Jose Altuve. They just suspend him for life, kick him out of the game. That's my thoughts on it.
So I mean, we're talking about the conspiracy theories of sports being rigged and actual conspiracy theories coming true. But what are some of your guys' other like favorite conspiracy theories? Because that's something I'm a nut about. Like, I love looking.
Well, what
at
do you
stuff.
think? What do you think?
I mean, the Mandela effect is stupid. It's like, it's probably not true. But I will watch it over and over again because I guarantee you when I was little, it was not the Berenstain Bears. It is the Berenstein Bears. If you go look at it, like, it's spelled, so I don't know if you guys, like, obviously you grow up, you watch, it was a cartoon on, like, PBS, I think, and there was also the books. And it was the Berenstain Bears, I guess, and it's, like, it's Stain at the end. And, like, for my entire life, up until I found that out, you could not have told me that it is not the Berenstein Bears, EIN. And then also, like, Kit Kat. Like, if you look at a Kit Kat wrapper, there's no hyphen. Kit Kat's not hyphenated, and I could have sworn to God Kit Kat was hyphenated.
Yeah, now
I would
I'm
have put
thinking
my
about
life
it.
on it.
Now I'm thinking about it.
And, like, Febreze is spelled weird, too.
And, like, isn't it, like, I've seen pictures where it's, like, which one's the right one? And there's, like, a capital F and then, like, a capital B or something like that. And it's, like, which one's right?
Yeah,
Like, I don't know.
I think the end of Febreze, hold on, let me look up how you spell Febreze, because this is, like... Okay, there's not... Breeze, the word breeze is B-R-E-E-Z-E. And Febreze is F-E-B-R-E-Z-E. No two E's. That doesn't even... That looks like Febreze. Like, that's not Febreze to me.
Whoa.
Like,
Blue Ian's.
Yeah, holy shit. Okay.
that, and, like, the theory for that is that you remember those little things. Like, you remember that Febreze is spelled like the word breeze. The Kit Kat has a hyphen. The Berenstein Bears. Because, like, people think at some point recently... Maybe some people think it was 2012 when the apocalypse was supposed to happen because of the Mayan calendar. Like, they think that the world actually ended, and then we, like, switched to a parallel universe where everything's pretty much the same, but a little bit different. And, like, that's what everyone thinks happens that we, like, remember.
That's stupid. I don't think that.
No.
That's kind of
And and the reason it's called the Mandela Effect is because there was a book written in, I think, it was, like, early 2000s or late 90s that said Mandela died in prison when he was in prison. And then, like, the reason everyone freaked out is everyone was like, oh, okay, Nelson Mandela's dead. Like, that was something in the back of their mind. They knew Mandela was dead. And then it got announced that he died. And they're like, you can't die twice. This dude already died. And, like, so people think that in that, like, parallel universe where, that, like, Mandela died. And that's why they call it the Mandela effect.
That's pretty crazy.
It's insane.
You think hard enough into anything, and like anything's gonna blow your mind. A big thing with me, it's not too much of a conspiracy theory, but I love talking about time travel. Time travel is like, I hope it's real, because I think that's the coolest shit in the world.
Dude, what was going on in ancient Egypt? What were they doing, bro? How did they build the pyramids? They don't know. They're literally like, science can't tell us how they're building the pyramids still.
You sound pissed off about that.
I am, because that's what, if I could time travel, that's the first place I would go.
He wants to see
I would
how
go
the
to where the
got
building
built.
of the pyramids are, and then I would go to when they're building the Sphinx.
Are they
because
saying, like,
apparently they're saying that the Sphinx and the pyramid are being built at 2 different times now in history. They weren't built at the same time.
Wait, are they
the Sphinx is much older than the.
Are they saying? Are they also? You saying how they built? Are they saying like physics doesn't line up right to build that pyramid?
They're saying that they have long ramps. It would take them longer to build the ramp to push these ginormous stones, because at the angle you have to push these up. You would have to build this ramp miles long in order to be able to do that. It would there's an internal ramp theory that still doesn't even really make much sense at all.
The mind's had a weird way of thinking about a lot of things. Like, you know, like maybe like they had a theory where like it's not even known to us yet. You know, I don't know how to speak intelligently on that.
The
But
Mayans?
whenever
The Egyptians.
whatever. Yeah, my bad. Sorry, I'm an idiot. However they did it, like they always had like, you know, they had different language, they had different like mathematical terms. Like I don't know how to, like I said, I don't know how to speak intelligently on it, but they had time, you know what I mean? Like if it took them 10 years to build the ramp, they would have did that, you know? Like, so we don't know how that went down. But with time travel, it's like, I always think my biggest thing is like, we're all in the end we're all time travelers, because we're traveling through time right now. I always think of it like this, that one little small theory is that, okay, so Cole, you go to sleep right now, and you wake up at 9 in the morning. Me and Ian pull an all-nighter, okay? So let's say you go to bed at midnight, so it's easier. Okay, so you go to bed at midnight, wake up at 9 in the morning. We stay up from 12 to 9. So that time was 9 hours for us, and it felt like 9 hours. But to you, it was not instantaneous, but it was definitely quicker.
I don't know. I wouldn't
That's
even say.
psychological.
But to me, though,
Yeah, that's just psychological, because
Well-
you're literally in sleep and are not comprehending.
Your body's
reality.
still going through, like, your body's still aging.
Yes, but I just feel like it's like he went through that time quicker than us. You know what I mean?
No, he didn't.
Okay.
He experienced time in a different way
Okay,
that you
I'll use a different theory about it. Okay, so have you ever seen Back to the Future? They were in, Marty went from 1985 to 1955. The end of the first movie had to get from 1955 to 1985, okay? So he left from 1955 to 1985 instantaneously. And Doc lived out those 40 years or however long it was to get, you know, so he was like, but Marty was there instantaneously. So while Doc like woke up the next months and years, where was Marty? It's crazy to think about. Where was he? What point in time was he? Because it was instantaneous to him, right? Because he just seen him go. You see him go.
It's a movie.
Still though, think
He was
about it.
in quite literally a different time.
It
He
was.
wasn't
It's a
physically
movie,
present.
but Doc has a point where he talks about space-time continuum, where like you can mess things up for the future, and your future is what you make it. So yeah, it was fiction, but it's also like, if time travel is real, it's not going to take me 40 years to get from now to 40 years in the future if I have a time machine. So whenever I go to 2040 or however long I want to go, where are you, Chaz? Because you're going to wake up tomorrow, right? But I'm going 40 years into the future.
You're not present. You're just not there. You're not anywhere in that.
Speaking-
you are transporting yourself to a different
Speaking
time.
Yes.
Speaking of going 40 years in the future, where do you see us 40
Wait,
years?
can I say this
Dead.
just for
Go
a
ahead.
second? So, Crispy, sorry. So, my thing with that is like, I may have went there instantaneously, right? But, so right now, Cole's sitting right there, and if I look over and go, where's Cole? He's right there. When I go to the future, 40 years into the future, and you're sitting there, and you wake up tomorrow, you go, where's Al? Where am I?
Because you're not talking about transferring consciousness. You're talking about actually taking your body and moving it to a different time.
Al, have you watched
not
Endgame?
Anywhere.
No, I have not seen it.
Okay, well, spoilers for
Wait,
a
I
movie.
think I've seen the ending of
It came out 8 months ago, Chaz. I'm gonna talk about a movie that came out 8 months ago.
Wait, what movie?
Endgame. If you haven't seen Endgame yet, you're either not gonna see it or not gonna see it for 10 years. And if you're listening to this and haven't seen Endgame, you're gonna forget about the podcast that you watched where I spoiled Endgame a little bit and talked about the time travel.
If you haven't seen it, you probably don't care anyway.
If you
Exactly. If you
Honestly.
haven't seen it yet, you don't care about Marvel enough right now for this to affect you.
If you've stuck with us for the first 50 minutes, you're a G, by the way. So thanks.
Have my babies.
So, and okay, so in Endgame,
Please.
they leave. So the way it's explained in Endgame, they're not like just jumping into nothingness to go to time. They shrink down to a level where they can it's quantum time travel is what they're talking about. It's a quantum leap, and they you leave, you get so small that you're in the particles of the universe, and then you you expand, get bigger again. After that, you I'm trying to explain it and not sound like an idiot. So you just dumb brain way, you get really small, and then you go to a different time that way, and then you get really big because you're not traveling through time, you're traveling to a different universe. And also in Endgame, you can't if you go back and change something that happened, that's an alternate timeline that you're in, and you can leave and go do something for 25 minutes, and it feels like 25 seconds.
I remember I've seen bits and pieces. I remember them saying yeah, I just went back, and then it's
But if time travel is gonna work, there would have to be for the only way for time travel to ever actually be a thing, it would have to be with alternate timelines, because you're not gonna be able to go back through your own timeline.
There's also theories out there though. Some people believe there's no such thing as time travel. People that believe in time travel, they have a bunch of different theories. One theory is that every moment in history is going on somewhere in a parallel universe. The Civil War is being fought in somewhere right now. Not on Earth, not in this, not in this reality, but there's somewhere. So that's how they believe, you can go from, not necessarily the timeline, not from here to here, but you can go from here to here to here. That's how, that's what they believe. But I'm sorry, I sounded like an idiot with time travel. I just think it's cool as shit.
The Marvel time travel theory is also very, very flawed.
Very flawed. Oh, yeah.
I'm not even gonna lie. I did not enjoy Endgame at all.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't enjoy your company in this room at all.
dude, Tony, he's trying to solve one of the greatest and hardest problems known to man, which is time travel. And all it is a 2-minute montage of Tony Stark going,
okay, but what?
And then he goes,
no,
I got it.
I
figured it out.
No, he ran.
That's time travel.
He ran infinite simulations on how you would travel through, because they already knew about going into the quantum realm. They knew that was a thing you could do. So it's not like he was trying. That's already found out by the Pims in that movie. So it's not like he's trying to figure out the basis of it. He just needs to figure out how to do it safely, which is exactly what he did by using his AI that also allows him to fly in the sky. It's a fucking comic book movie. Enjoy it for being a comic book movie. Okay, well, you also can't fly through the sky like that. Asgard's not a real place, so I hate it too then if we're going to pick apart every little thing that doesn't make sense. There's not, Asgard's probably not up there. Sorry if you're a German viewer and that's what you believe, but I don't. So Asgard's not up there.
There's also nothing saying that he went to the to the Avengers headquarters the next day. Who says that there's not a time jump between those 2 points?
Yeah, it's not.
It could have taken him time. They just didn't show him for 30 minutes sitting there thinking about it.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to watch they
even showed it. He had a time crunch. He had to figure this out.
It's a movie, Chaz. It's a movie.
Trying to figure that out beforehand. It said in the movie that he started to figure it out.
That's not.
He just didn't finish it.
It wasn't a good movie, and that's just.
Iron Man is dead.
All right, we are way off track. We're talking about conspiracies, and one of my all-time favorite conspiracies, because it's a conspiracy about my favorite TV show of all time, The Office, is that Kevin Malone is actually a genius. So if you've watched The Office, Kevin is the accountant that wanted to work in the warehouse, and just Michael gave him an accounting job, because he said he looked more like an accountant. That's the only reason he got that job. So the theory is this dude is like a degenerate gambler in the show. Like has so much debt. And
Vroom, vroom.
like mentions it. There's like web series from The Office where he mentions like how much debt he has. He tries to like take out money to pay his gambling debt.
I just saw the loan video the other day. Like,
Yeah,
the loans cones.
He tries to take out a loan so that he can like make an ice cream stand to make money to pay off his gambling debt. And also, the last episode they talk about the number 11, which was it's Kevin's magic solving number, and it was mistake plus 11 or mistake plus 11 gets you home by 7. and like so, the theory behind that is that Kevin was using the fact that everyone just thought that he was the dumbest human being alive. Everyone thought that he was an absolute imbecile. He used that to leverage the fact that, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make these accounting mistakes with Clevens and just, like, steal so much money from this company. Because he buys a bar at the end.
Yeah, he does.
And he said his reasoning was that everyone felt so bad for him after watching the documentary that they filmed. That, like... that they all wanted to buy him a drink at that bar, and it was cheaper for the bartender to just give him the bar than to give him that many free drinks.
I think one of my favorite Kevin lines ever is on the last episode is whenever Andy's talking about like why he fired him, and he goes, Kevin, I fired you because you're a terrible accountant. He goes, oh, I thought you just fired me because you didn't like me. He goes, no, you were the shittiest accountant in the world. You're a freaking idiot. And he's like, oh, well, that makes me feel a lot better.
Or he was just the greatest accountant in the world and laundered so much money to himself through Dunder Mifflin. Like that. That's what I want to believe. I want to believe that Kevin is like more of a criminal than the Scranton Strangler. I want him to be more of a criminal than the Scranton Strangler with how much money he stole from Dunder Mifflin.
I like how at the end of The Office too, he said Creed Bratton ended up being like this like serial killer or something like that from like the 70s.
Well, no, they said that he like stole weapons grade LSD from the government because he was so Creed Bratton. I don't know if you know that, but he's a real person.
Yeah, his real name's Creed Bratton.
His real name's Creed Bratton. He actually played in the Grassroots. Like all of that's real, and like Creed Bratton still makes music now, but like they have Creed Bratton, his whole thing is that he said the last person to mess with Creed Bratton, or no one messes with Creed Bratton and gets away with it. The last person to do that was Creed Bratton because he killed Creed Bratton and took Creed Bratton's identity. Like, Creed is like the most notorious, like he's FBI most wanted with the shit that he says he did in The Office. Like he shows up on Halloween covered in blood and they're like, he's just like, oh, it's Halloween? That's fortunate.
Yeah, I remember that one.
And he shows up. Michael wanted to play the murder mystery game, and he's like, and Michael goes, "There's been a murder," and he's like, "I gotta go get my things," and runs out to his car and drives away. Like Creed is FBI most wanted in the real world. And I like I said, it's my favorite show of all time. I could sit here and talk about it forever. So I just want to know what's your guys' favorite shows.
My favorite TV show is The Punisher by Marvel. I mean, have you guys ever seen it?
No, I haven't.
Okay, you can go fuck yourself then.
I haven't seen it either.
I don't think I'd see it either.
Yeah, fuck you,
Ian.
Ian.
See it, bro.
Hey, maybe someone that watches this will see it. Talk about it anyway.
Hey, Big J saw it. Well, pretty much.
Yep.
The he's just a badass. And that's all I got to say for it.
One of my favorite anti-heroes in the entire Marvel universe.
Yeah, that's what's nice is that you're just kind of going off your normal, like, stereotypical Marvel character. Instead of the hero, it's the anti-hero. Like, he's not doing necessarily wrong, but he's obviously not doing good.
And if
he's doing good, but not in the right way.
If I remember, isn't that like, that show's like actually just like super gritty, right, and realistic, not like, I mean, it's not realistic, it's a Marvel show.
All of the Netflix ones.
All the Netflix ones were like more like a realistic world than like, it's not like Deadpool where he's breaking the fourth wall and looking like, Deadpool's my favorite anti-hero, but he's like, Deadpool's a comedy. Like,
Yeah.
it's a
Deadpool's
comedy first
fantastic.
and a fantastic action movie while also being a hilarious comedy. Al, what's your favorite show?
Well,
buddy?
I don't want to copy you with The Office because I love The Office. Like Friends, I've watched a lot of the Friends. It's also my go-to when I just want to watch Netflix type stuff. It's usually my go-to, just pop on an episode of Friends. But I'm probably gonna have to go with Ice Road Truckers, man. Like,
Truckers.
dude, Ice Road Truckers actually slapped. Like, me and my uncle used to watch that all the time, and I was just like, I think I want to do this for a living, man. Like, there's nothing more badass than taking like 50 tons of material on 6 feet of ice, man.
Okay, I don't want to hit too hard at home with you, but I mean, it's a pretty dangerous job. There's already a lot of weight on that truck. I'm saying if you got in there, would it be the most safe thing?
I want to know if the viewers think that if me and Ian should have a foot race or like an athletic competition to see
How
who's
about just
more fit.
We'll post it on the Instagram.
If you guys want to see a rough and rowdy Ian and Al, like
Boxing
and
match.
subscribe.
Leave comment and let us know if you want to see that.
Weighted gloves.
Weighted gloves. We can also have I forget in Rocky, he was Mick's talking about how like when he was a boxer way back in the 20s that he had a boxer, he put a nail right in his thumb.
I'll get a pocket knife.
Every time he got hit, it got holes through his. I mean, it's a movie, but like stuff like that would happen like way back in the day with boxing. I can talk about boxing all day. I'll even rep boxing.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right,
That's so
as much
cool.
as I'd love to listen to you talk about boxing all night,
You're gonna cut me off, Carter.
I am gonna cut.
You're
you
gonna
off.
cut me off.
I'm gonna cut you off because one, I'm not really trying to talk about boxing all night. I got stuff I want to do today.
Okay.
2, we're talking for about an hour already. So let's just one more thing I want to talk about, and then we'll wrap it up with your
All right.
wise words. Al.
Okay.
I just want to know one thing. It doesn't need to be a long one. I want to get these four's opinions too.
Okay.
Just the one thing you want to do before you die. I think it's between. I said I want Lakers. I said I want to get courtside Lakers seats. Sitting courtside at an NBA game is one, or skydiving. So 1A and 1B. 1A is I'm more likely gonna skydive than ever get to sit courtside, but I want to do both more than anything.
Yeah. Skip me for now. I gotta think about that one. That's a deep one.
I want a woman to love me. And I want her to be real, have a beating heart, and not be ugly.
All right,
That's all I
McGuire,
want,
what do you
like-
want to do before you die?
I'd say probably go to Las Vegas to a casino and just win an absolute shit ton of money.
We're gonna go, man, on my 21st.
Absolutely.
Kramer, one thing before you die.
The one thing that I would do before I die is also the thing that will probably kill me, but I want to order every single item on the Taco Bell menu and finish it in one evening.
10 minutes.
Chaz, one
I'm
thing
gonna
before
go
you die.
down a different path. I want to go do ayahuasca with a shaman. That's my one goal in
Can
life.
you explain?
Dude,
What is that?
ayahuasca, it has a substance called dimethyltryptamine, DMT.
Okay, alright, okay.
Okay.
Alright, Trey, what do you want to
Trey.
do?
I'll go a different route and go New Year's Eve, watch the ball drop.
Get the fuck out of here! Let's get out of here!
Trey's got every middle-aged mom's dream locked down.
Okay, I got one.
Trey just wants to make
Okay,
it
Ian.
I got mine. The final thing. I want to punch a shark.
Yeah!
All
Now,
right,
let's get some wise words
all right,
from
boys.
you.
We're wrapping it up, but first, Al, let's hear some wise words.
Wise words from Al. So, this isn't my original thought, but it is my thought now after I heard it. I need everyone to get serious.
Let's get serious.
Serious, okay? Some people are afraid of dying. Some people are afraid of public speaking. There's one thing that scares me in this world, and that's fucking testicular cancer and testicular torsion. To wake up in the morning with one nut wrapped around the other and having to get that shit cut open and fixed scares the death out of me. So kids, wear a jockstrap. Don't get testicular torsion. Don't get testicular cancer. You take your nuts. You take your pride. Thank you for tuning in. Like and subscribe. This is MudHouse Productions, signing off. Have a good one.